Good morning, everyone. It's the one and only V, the Guerrilla Economist, coming to you live with my main man El Cuco, who was mobile this morning, but it's not going to stop us from doing this show because we're just rocking it out. And with that being said, guys, you can follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money. Check us out on roguemoney.net, the main preeminent news website. And also check us out on every single podcasting app known to humanity, DTube, Steam it, you name it, wherever you want us to be in a bag of chips. Also check out our sponsors, remaincom.net, remaincom.net, whether you need to get your credit score fixed and or you need to get your funding. Well, whether you need funding to start a business or investments, whatever the heck it is you want to do. Maybe you like me. Maybe you're looking for a 1996 Porsche 911 Turbo S. Maybe you're trying to hunt one down. You need the money. RemainCom.net will get it done for you. And also check out thecryptoschool.io, thecryptoschool.io. I'm not joking when I say this, that we are capturing not a single negative remark anywhere. I scoured the entire trade room, all the comments, everything that's there, not a single negative comment. People are like, boom, I've made 30% today. Boom, 27%. Boom, 40%. They're crushing it. Why? Because it's not witchcraft. It's great technical analysis. It's intelligence. It's the how-to on how to get it done. Thecryptoschool.io. If you don't know anything about cryptos, there's a course there. It's a lifetime membership. You pay a one-time fee of $297. You get a curriculum. I'm not talking about one little rinky-dink video where they keep you mutually mystified. I'm talking about entire video series, lecture series, an actual curriculum built out by somebody who spent literally almost the last 15, 20 years being a master educator at a university level. And I'm talking about Frank. And he's the one, he has the talent for that, be completely built out the course. So take a look at it. We've got video series up there for you. And again, it's a one-time fee of $297, lifetime. You have access to it. And then when you got through that, or you don't need that basics and you're ready to trade, go to the Watch Us Trade room. Click on Watch Us Trade. Trade the cryptos. Learn how the big boys are played. Don't sit there and just hodl your life away. You don't want to do that. Okay? You don't want to sit there and hodl your life away. Get up there and get trading. That is thecryptoschool.io. And with that out of the way, Siege, what's going on, brother?
Hey, good morning, V. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I know you got some exciting things going on with Rogue 420. Anything you want to leak a little bit, little tidbits of information to the audience, just to pepper them with curiosity?
Yeah, very excited to share. We've been working very hard the past year and a half with Rogue 420. We're looking at also beginning to produce some CBD edibles. We were very fortunate to have a team member, very talented in her skills, various cooking, very high quality CBD edibles, very unique. When I'm not talking about just the gummy bears and those types of items. And just right now, in terms of health, V, seeing what CBD is actually doing to help several people with several different disease state managements, and it's a very much a very viable alternative to dangerous prescription medications. I mean, every other day we're learning about the opioid addiction, the overdoses that are occurring. So we're going to be able to deliver that in a viable various solutions outside of your traditional CBD oil. And so making a trip up to potentially work with a manufacturer to streamline the process for us and hopefully be able to begin advertising and marketing and selling these to our Rogue fans. So we're very excited about that.
I'm excited for you guys, man. And I've seen some of the prototyping that you guys have done with certain products, and it is outrageous. Nobody else is doing it. And it just whets my appetite to just taking a look at it, man. It looks amazing, simply amazing. So job well done to you guys for Rogue 420, man. That's epic.
Yeah, and we're very excited also. I'm not sure if you heard the news, but the Senate actually did something favorable yesterday, V. Something to celebrate. I know our fans have always said, you guys are so doom and gloom lately. What's up with that? Well, I have some great news to share, and that's that Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, has submitted a national hemp bill to unschedule hemp and allow America to return its roots of growing hemp and making it a very prosperous, viable industry in the United States. V. That's pretty exciting.
Wow, I would have got into him. That's wow.
Well, you know, he's from Kentucky, and Kentucky already has legal hemp laws, and Kentucky is flourishing with hemp, and they're seeing it does wonders for the soil. It's much stronger. It takes a lot less water in terms of agriculture. I mean, so many solutions that are there. So hopefully the Senate can move on that, and so the levels of opportunities there with that industry are just so many different things. Everything from paper textiles to to automobile manufacturing. You know, it's stronger than fiberglass. So many really cool things you can do with hemp. So if we can do that, we could potentially utilize hemp to revitalize our economy and move forward as far as exports. So we want to instead of the trade wars, let's learn how to produce things again here in the United States and expand our exports. We need to do that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. 1,000%. Yeah, that would be great. And for the first time in a long time, our major exports won't be trash and recyclables. It'll actually be finished products like it used to be back in the days. Folks, it's up to us to get America back on track. It's up to us to get America working. It's up to us to it's going to be us that creates the environment. We can't rely on government. We can't rely on government officials. It's all up to us. The destiny is in our hands. And with that being said, I've been saying it for years. And it's finally here. Yours truly back in December said it's going to be launching. I mean, I've been writing about this since 2012, but I've said back in December that look to mid to late March for the launch of the petroyuan. It launched over Sunday night our time, which is Monday morning China time, and over in Shanghai, and it was off to a great start. Now the news has come that the petroyuan futures launched with a bang. We're in the second day. Okay. We are in the second day of the existence of the petroyuan. Okay. The petroyuan futures. And the volume absolutely decimated Brent. Okay. It decimated Brent. And folks, if you've been tracking Brent and WTI, you know that Brent and WTI have been going their own separate direction for quite some time now. WTI tends to tick a little higher than Brent, but you see where it's going. China's yuan-dominated crude oil futures launched overnight in Shanghai with 62,500 contracts traded in aggregate, meaning over 62 million barrels of oil changed hands for a notional volume around $4 billion. As oilprice.com's Svetsna Paraskova notes, Glencore, Trafigura, and Freepoint Commodities were among the first to buy the new contract. That's huge. And Glencore. All the deep state fingerprints on Glencore. And they were they did a lot of financial dirty work. And here they are with Trafigura and Freepoint all buying the contracts. The initial surge in volume that outpaced overnight transactions in the global benchmark Brent crude in London trading tapered off towards the end of the session. Within minutes of the launch, the price had gone up to almost $70, and 85 cents from the starting price of $69.94 per barrel. The overall price jump for the short trading session came to about 3.92%. Many waited the launch eagerly, seeking to tap China's bustling commodity markets, although doubts remain whether the Shanghai futures contract will be able to become another international oil benchmark. These doubts center on the fact that China is not a market economy, and the government is quick to interfere in the workings of the local commodity markets on any suspicion of a bubble coming. To prevent such a bubble in oil, the authorities made sure the contract will trade within a set band of 5% on either side, with a 10% on the side for the first trading day. Margin has been at 7%. Storage costs for crude are higher than the international average in hopes of discouraging speculators. Storage costs for crude are higher. I'm going to repeat that again. Are higher than the international average in hopes of discouraging speculators. This is significant. I'm going to tell you guys why. Okay, I'm going to read this again. Listen to some of the doubts put here by the Western pundits here. Although doubts remain whether the Shanghai futures contract will be able to become another international oil benchmark, they are the largest importer of petroleum on the planet. There is no doubt. They're the most liquid market in the world. There is no doubt. They're the most healthy and most vibrant economy on the planet, of which there is no doubt. They are the banking magnate of the world, of which there is no doubt. And now they launch an oil futures contract, and the Western pundits sit there and say, well, we have doubts. We have doubts that this futures contract in China will be an international benchmark. We have doubts of it. Believe me when I say that there will be no doubt in the coming months as OPEC breaks apart and joins the Shanghai petroyuan futures contract. There will be no doubt. China is not doing this to create just a simple index. You see, this is the limitation of the Western mind. This is what I'm trying to bring people out of. This is what I'm trying to educate people on. Stop living and limiting yourself in whatever paradigm you have created. Stop thinking that we in the West are the center of the universe and all the worlds, and all the nations revolve around us. It stopped revolving around us years ago. Okay? It stopped revolving around us years ago. Often, some of the most ardent things that are said about the East are those who have never traveled or done business in the East. So they speak out of ignorance. They speak out of ignorance. And here's the deal. I just laid out for you who and what China is. And if you've been following roguemoney.net, we've been writing about China and Russia and the entire Eurasian trade zone, the One Belt, One Road initiative. We've had Harley here all the time. I mean, Helga Zeppelarush, whom I've met, who's an amazing woman, an amazing lady. She's considered the mother of the Silk Road. Okay. You guys, if you've been on this channel, you've been following us over at Rogue Money, you know very well about the East. You know very well about the shift that has occurred because of the corruption that we are facing in the West. And now the West thinks that China, the only thing that they want to do is just to be another index. Like when China went into the IMF, they wanted to put the yuan as part of the SDR basket of currencies. Oh, they just want to be part of the basket. They just want to be part of the SDR. No. They are supplanting here. Not in a conquering way, but offering an alternative to the tyrannical West and what the West has offered for the last several decades. And what China is offering, look, listen how this article is crafted. Look at it. I'm gonna break it apart. These doubts, and this is the doubt of can China, right? Can this be a real international oil benchmark? Because these doubts center on the fact that China is not a market economy, and the government is quick to interfere in the workings of the local commodity markets on any suspicion of a bubble coming. Folks, if that is not the greatest sign of BS, I don't know what is. China has allowed several thousand companies and banks to go under. They have allowed certain companies to go under, certain banks to go under. They have jailed banksters who were out there propping fictitious and fake bubbles, manipulating stocks, and or various other forms of financial hijinks. Jailed them. Compare that to us. In the United States, we give bankers golden parachutes. Thank you for running your company to the ground. Thank you for allowing your company to lose tens of thousands of jobs. Thank you for destroying our own economy and putting our markets at risk. Here you go. Here's $27 million. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. There's a limo waiting for you outside as well. Enjoy. That's what we do. China actually jails banksters. Now they say, oh, they might interfere in the market to prevent a cost. And I'm going to break that down even further. The United States government interferes heavily. Okay? And I'm talking about the money interests. And this is not something that's done overtly that is noticed. Okay, that is noticed by the population. But it interferes heavily via the Federal Reserve. It interferes heavily via favored financial institutions in Wall Street. And it's this cabal of money changers that manipulate every single market. Folks, let me tell you this. You don't have an economy. When I tell most Americans that, they kind of freak out. Well, what do you mean? We have a $20 trillion economy. No, you don't. Your economy is lucky to be $4 trillion. Over half of the U.S. GDP numbers are fake, fraudulent, and fictitious. Over half of the U.S. GDP numbers are nothing but reshuffled debt. We're the only country in the world that counts government expenditure as part of GDP growth, which is the most insane thing in the world. Okay? So I want you to think about this. Our vaunted economy, every aspect of it, and when I say you don't have an economy, is this. The money powers meddle in our real estate market. Okay? We don't have a real estate market. Think about it. If the Fed stops buying mortgage-backed securities, what would happen to the real estate market? Yeah. You know exactly what's going to happen. If the Fed stops propping up the stock market, what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen if all of a sudden the Fed took away those ridiculously low interest rates? What would happen if the Fed stops meddling and allowed market forces, that's a euphemism there, market forces to actually work? There'd be a stock market crash tomorrow. There'd be a massive sell-off. Amazon and Tesla and Apple and Google and all these fictitious phony, Facebook and all these fictitious phony baloney companies would be on the chopping block. Why? Well, they do it on margin debt, which is up 600%. They do it on stock buybacks, which is up 400%. Every single one of these companies in the fictitious Wall Street la la land is a fake, manipulated number. All of it. But they like to put that out there in front of your face and say, oh, look at the free markets that are working, when you cannot even a proper mark to market. Oh, look at the free market. We have a free market. You don't have a free market here. You are deluded if you think so. Explain to me if you have a free market. Explain to me why the hell gold and silver is beaten down to oblivion time after time. Why are there tens of thousands of naked shorts being dumped in the commodities market at the CME, crushing the price of silver when there's no buyer on the other end, which is illegal, and the banks that do it should be brought to justice? How come nothing happens? Because it's manipulated. You see, in oil, one of the biggest things, if you guys remember back in the Bush administration, I think it was 2007, 2006, 2007, when oil went up to almost $150 a barrel. Okay? And what was the cry? What was the cry from the mainstream media? What was the cry from all the politicians? The cry was, we need to stop allowing a strategically important thing like oil We need to stop that from getting into the hands of the speculators. And it all became about the speculators. Oh, the dangers of the speculators, the dangers of the speculators, the dangers of the speculators who took oil from $60 to $70 a barrel or $80 a barrel at that time and drove it damn near 150. Ooh, those damn speculators. And I agree in some regards. Oil is a strategically viable and important strategic asset. Why is China doing this? Why? They want to drive the speculators out. Why? Financial speculators in the oil market is one of the most greatest weapons that the West has. I will repeat that again. Financial speculators in the oil market are one of the greatest weapons that the West, specifically the cabal in Wall Street and the City of London, has. You don't believe me? Ask Russia. Do you remember the 1990 Russia economic collapse? What happened? What happened to the price of oil? We slammed it down next to nothing, where the entire Russian economy imploded at that time. And the drunk Boris Yeltsin couldn't do nothing about it because he was just damn drunk. And it took a Vladimir Putin a few decades to pull Russia out of that situation. China understands this. China understands this. Why? Because they are energy dependent on outside petroleum sources. They understand it so bad, they built man-made islands in the South China Seas. Ooh, they built 6 islands. Look at China's aggression. What the hell is China doing? I'm going to tie this into this whole oil contract rule thing, and I'll make it very clear for you guys. What was China doing in the South China Seas? I've said this a billion times. China has 6 to 8 islands that they developed up in order to do one function alone, to ensure the flow of maritime petroleum into China. That is the main thing why they have those islands there. They want to ensure that the Straits of Malacca, which 90% of Chinese energy flows through, stays open against any kind of war. The Straits of Malacca is very easy for the U.S. Navy to blockade. China wants to prevent that. In other words, China's trying to protect its economically vital lifeblood, which is oil, which is how the West can wreck them. Do you understand? The Straits of Malacca. Protect it, find an alternative to it, ensure it, make sure that nothing happens to it. Straits of Malacca, South China Seas, boom. Second thing, major pipeline deals between Russia and China are completed. The pipeline deals are built out. The energy begins to flow. You've all heard me talk about it. 2012, 2013, the $400, $500 billion energy pipeline deals that were put out by China and Russia. Game-changing deals. Why? Again, to ensure the flow of their economic lifeblood, which is oil. Okay, which is petroleum. So the South China Seas is to secure the Straits of Malacca. The overland pipeline routes is to ensure the flow of oil into China and to the north. And then the final thing to protect China's soft economic underbelly, which is, again, the petroleum markets. They know this. They know what Wall Street is up to. They know what the City of London is up to, and they're 10 steps ahead. How do you keep the speculators out while still maintaining profits? Well, you allow a set band of 5% on either side, with a 10% on either side for the first trading day. Margin has been set at 7%. So there's enough there for traders to make profit. Then you put storage costs for the crude higher than the international average, because that discourages the speculators. You're mitigating it. You can't stop all of it, but now you can stop the price of oil from jumping up to $200 a barrel. You see, now if the City of London with the Brent and Wall Street, with the West Texas intermediary, decides to drive up oil to $150 a barrel, the Shanghai oil exchange, the petroyuan exchange, will still show $70 a barrel. Gotcha. And China has the influx of oil. China has the partnerships with the Rosneft, the largest oil company on the planet, 2 times bigger than ExxonMobil. China has the strategic partnerships in the Middle East and the gold that gives it teeth. You hear it? Do you hear what I just said? The gold is what gives the oil contract its teeth. I like what Bankster said on Twitter, on the Rogue Money Twitter, and I retweeted it. What sanctions? What trade war? We have oil, we have gold, you have nothing. Hashtag mic drop. That is why China has gold. Because the gold gives teeth to the petroyuan. It gives teeth that is lacking severely in the West. Folks, it's a whole new world. It is a wind of change happening. Your future and mine hangs in the balance. It's a great article here by my main man, Pepe Escobar. Love this guy. Will the Putin Z era supersede the Western liberal disorder? My answer is hell yes. Stupid is as stupid does, as the saying goes. And you can see that with many of the leaders that are in America, the B team that are operating here, the idiots over across the pond in the UK, led by that moronic woman named Theresa May, and the other half-baked rejects that are in Brussels. Pepe's article reads, say the Chinese constitutional amendment, allowing Xi Jinping the possibility of further presidential term, staying in power long enough to bring national rejuvenation, combined with the Russian election reconfirming Vladimir Putin, thank God, in the presidency, have assured consistency and continuity for the Russia-China strategic partnership way into the next decade. This will facilitate the interaction between the Belt and the Road Initiative and the Eurasian Economic Union, policy coordination inside the Shanghai Cooperation, the SCO, the BRICS, the G20, and the overall drive towards Eurasian integration. That is the future. You want to have a business idea? Think Eurasia. You want to do something? Think Eurasia. See, one of the benefits of being American is that we live in a maverick, enterprising society, in spite of the fact that we are led as a nation by idiots. We, the people, are still freaking awesome. And there's opportunities there for any enterprising American that wants to go over to the Eurasian and make a killing. The time is now. The strengthening of what would be viewed as a Putin-Xi era could not but render Western liberals and neoliberals absolutely livid. Capitalist interests have always believed their own propaganda narrative, which directly links expansion with the inevitable spread of democracy. Critical thinking is at last debunking it as a grand illusion. What in fact happened since the early 80s was that the Western turbo-capitalism avidly profited from a variation of neo-slave labor in China's special economic zones. You all remember that. Compounded with the proverbial hubris of Western elites, betting that China, regarded at best as a source of cheap labor, as well as an enfeebled Russia during the 90s, would never accumulate enough know-how to challenge the West geo-economically and geopolitically. Again, the definition of hubris, every dying empire goes through hubris. It is you overestimate yourself and you underestimate your rivals. You think you're the smartest guy in the block until your rival comes in and kicks the crap out of you. The historical record is implacable, showing there's no connection whatsoever between free, quote-unquote, free trade, usually freer for those with extra economic heft and political liberalization, for instance. The Prussian monarchy lowered trade barriers, and that led to the creation of the Zollverein in 1834, and the Third Reich between 1933 and 38 offered a heady mix of hardcore capitalism and totalitarianism. China's system, where the party controls for the state for the purpose of national cohesion, surely does not qualify as a liberal democracy. Dissenter Ming Jinpei, the author of China's Trapped Transition, already knew 12 years ago that the Chinese Communist Party would never go the Western liberal democracy way. But he did understand little helmsman Deng Xiaoping's commands to the letter. He got it right, that China has no interest in becoming a member of the Western Club. They want the economic benefits from the Western liberal order, but reject its political values and fear its security alliances. Now, they are strong enough to position in attempting to build their own clubhouse. What Pei got wrong is that the Communist Party would smother China's economic growth. And that is completely wrong. Xi Jinping and his new dream team need enough time to successfully tweak the Chinese economic model away from the childish 24/7 demonetization. The fact is that Russia today is a democracy, albeit imperfect. And it's important to analyze how a young democracy can be manipulated. The third chapter of the book, Manifest Destiny, Democracy as Cognitive Dissonance, details the rape of Russia. How Boris Yeltsin's free market reforms, quote unquote, facilitated by the Harvard boys, you all remember them, allowed a small quarter of billionaire oligarchs, Mikhail Khodorkovsky, Boris Berezovsky, Roman Abramovich, among them, to take over an economy suffering from shock therapy. Between 91 and 97, GDP collapsed by a whopping 83%, while investment into the economy fell by 92%. The case for Khodorkovsky is emblematic. Through Yukos, he owned key Siberian oil fields and was about to sell them to all Western corporate interests back in 2003 when Putin went after him. There's no question this was avidly studied by the Beijing leadership. Control of key national resources is the ultimate red line. Oil. Oil. Do you get it? Do you get it? You see, the Shanghai, the petroyuan, is not simply another index. It is not simply, we're going to try our hand at making making an oil index a rival to the Brent and a rival to the WTI. Hello. That is not what it's about. It is about securing a strategic interest, allowing a said field, a said barometer, a said range that allows trade to profit the traders, but give it the teeth to keep the speculators away. That's what's happening here. Okay? China, Russia, Iran, Turkey, all implicated in the Eurasia integration, may all rank as authoritarian systems at different levels, and cases can be made that, with the exception of China, they still underperform economically compared to their true potential. Yet one thing they value most of all, folks, is national sovereignty amid a multipolar system. That their conceptual counterpart to the illiberal world disorder. Okay? And as for the loss of elite influence, that's code for self-described coiter of the wealthy and the powerful claiming a fuzzy democracy, moral high ground, which only unmasks the deeper fear of the Western unipolar moment, dissolve sooner rather than later. The EU's notion of promoting quote-unquote economic integration includes heavy doses of austerity. Could not be more anti-democratic. Add to its scandals at top state level that do nothing but corrode the belief in the primacy of the Western liberal democracy model. The latest involves a real possibility that Colonel Gaddafi probably financed the 2007 Sarkozy presidential campaign in France, an outstandingly murky affair featuring the politics of energy, the politics of water, and the proverbial major weapons contracts through which Western liberal democracies discard any moral high ground. Now, compared with Xi Jinping, a sort of primus inter pares in a cinified version of Plato's Republic. Greek-Roman Enlightenment political theory is not the only game in town anymore, folks. Yet not a chance the hubristic West will start listening to Confucius. Not a chance. It's a whole new world, guys. It's a whole new world. We've been checkmated militarily by the Russians. We've been checkmated economically by the Chinese. And we have nothing to offer. You see, the greatest minds, I was texting a client of mine who was a top-tier medical doctor here in New York. And one of his buddies is one of the original core developers in many. This guy's a major name in the crypto community verse. And he was telling me, yeah, that I just talked to so and so. I'm like, oh, great, how's he doing? Well, he's leaving the country. I'm like, why? There's more money to be made abroad, overseas. There's more money to be made. You see, and I said to myself, why? And I asked him why. He said, well, he said, so-and-so told me that, the laws, the regulations, we're so behind the curve. We are, and he couldn't understand why we're behind the curve. And I'll tell you why we're behind the curve on cryptocurrencies, on blockchain technology, on the bleeding edge of technology. Why are we behind the curve purposely? We have a bureaucratic blanket of corruption that prevents any sort of real development. We have a bureaucratic blanket of corruption that prevents any sort of real development. Why does it prevent development? Because development endangers their power. Development empowers you and weakens the state. They don't want that. Like I said, folks, you and your government have two competing, completely opposite odds. You want more freedom. Your government wants more control. They are complete anathema one to the other. So what we're facing here, folks, in the United States, with this gentleman that I've just talked to and this personal mutual friend that we both know, what we're facing here in the United States is the equivalent of Atlas Shrugged. Read Atlas Shrugged. Ayn Rand warned us what would happen. We're facing a brain drain. What happens when the talent comes online? See, there are platforms I myself want to build. I can't do it here in the United States. Without Uncle Sam putting on a very, very long rubber glove and shoving his hand up our proverbial rectums to search for whatever. To search for fraud, any sort of obfuscation. When talent wakes up, and we've seen this happen over 100 some odd years ago in Europe, talent woke up on a continent devoid of jobs, devoid of opportunities, devoid of any sort of real mobility and freedom. And you know what they did? They said, the hell with this. They got on a boat and they came here. We're in the same situation. There's going to be many young people, not the brain delusional millennials, maybe some millennials who are awake, and definitely Generation Z, and a lot of the younger generation that are coming up here. They're waking up to the fact that, you know what, I want to create things. I want to build platforms. I want to build systems. I want to set humanity free. I want to come up with the ideas that revolutionize the world. And they realize that doing it here is not only cost prohibitive, it is freedom prohibitive. What happens when we have that brain drain? You see, this is why the parasite that is called Washington, D.C. must be dealt with. And one way or another, it has to be dealt with. There's no easy way around it. There's no easy solutions. There's only a hard solution ahead. And it's up to us if we choose that. There's only a hard solution ahead. And it's entirely up to us whether we choose it. Folks, destiny is in our hands. It's not about QAnus or QAnon or what a politician's doing. It has nothing to do with any of that. It is on us. It is on us. It is those who love freedom. 2018 midterm elections are coming. Let us get these statists out. I passionately hate the state. Let us get these statists out. Let us bring those who love the Constitution, those who love liberty and the libertarian ideals of live and let live back. Let's allow the development of blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies, and cannabis and hemp. And let's revolutionize the world. We still have that maverick spirit intact. We still have it. It's still intact. Let's take it. Let's run with it. Let's go forth. And let's be epic. This is V, the Guerrilla Economist. And we are over and we're out.